What's up, guys? I'm going to be reviewing Salem Season 2, Episode 10, entitled Till Death Do Us Part. So last week we left off where John Alden has finally met Mary after she she thought he was dead. He's not dead. Tituba's been keeping him tied up. She decided to tell Mary. Now Alden has agreed to help Mary to get their son back, and it seems like he's on her side for now. So that's where the episode ended last. So this week we start off with the episode. The episode starts off with Marburg. She is washing Mary's child in a bathtub, and she kind of temporarily drowns him, and this somehow makes him into a demon, I guess. I mean, this is how she kind of gets this demon inside of him. I mean, drowns him, tries to drown him, and then kind of uses her magic to kind of, I don't even know, somehow he ends up being, I guess, possessed. And he becomes her puppet, pretty much. So last week we were also talking about how Hawthorne's like, okay, Mather, make sure something happens to the carriage, and make it look like an accident, and also make sure Mather is dead. So as Mather is about to be killed in the woods by the carriage driver, John Alden appears out of nowhere. He rescues him, and so yeah, that was that. We're then taken to a scene in the church where Marburg tells Mary, it's not they are talking, kind of between one another in church. No one else can hear them. She's telling Mary, don't try anything, otherwise she's gonna kill the ones dear to her and eat her heart. And I love this line that Mary says. It always seems that Mary has great always has great comeback lines. Mary says that she might as well have her heart because it's gonna be bitter to her taste anyway. So then we're taken to a scene where Hawthorne goes to Anne, and he tells her that Cotton has been killed because he assumes that Cotton Mather is going to get killed in the woods because of that accident. That the carriage, he tells her that the carriage was attacked, that he's dead. And out of nowhere, Cotton Mather just shows up to the house and starts threatening Hawthorne for trying to kill him. Anne is obviously surprised to see him because she was just told that he was dead. So kind of spooks Hawthorne, because we also know that so we now know that he's alive, and that Anne now knows that he's alive, and that Hawthorne is again trying to find a way to marry her, because he was always interested in Anne. Ever since he showed up to town, the first thing he did was go to Anne. He's like, well, it's not safe for a woman to be alone in this town, so he's still trying to get her to change her mind to marry him. Obviously that doesn't work. We then take into a scene where Mary, she's decided to take revenge on Marburg and get her son back. While doing this, she sees Isaac in the cell, and she frees him. Meanwhile, Marburg and Sebastian, her son, are taking Mary's son to be baptized. So this is a perfect time to try and Mary thinks he's locked up somewhere. She's trying to find a way. She's trying to look for her son, and she doesn't know where to look. And she just happens to see Isaac, her friend. She frees him. So like I said, Marburg and Sebastian are taking the Mary's son to be baptized. Still don't know why. Eventually, Mary gets to this secret passageway where she finds a skeleton. And we see that it kind of works as a sort of voodoo doll against Marburg. So she's planning to use that to get her son back. Alden eventually shows up in the woods out of nowhere. John Alden in this episode just comes out of nowhere and always coming to the rescue. I mean, this is the second time in the episode. He comes to the rescue. He gets the boy. Like I said, Mary and Alden are working together. So Alden gets the boy, but Mary, she's kind of left there because she ends up in the woods with the skeleton, and she's using that voodoo doll to kind of hurt Marburg and get her son back. And that's where John Alden shows up, grabs the child. He's on horseback, and they just ride off. But Mary's still there, standing there, and Sebastian, I believe Sebastian is the one who grabs her, and they have her now. Also, remember, Mary frees Isaac. Isaac is now walking about, and he finds Dolly's dead body because he didn't know that she was dead. That, what's-her-face, Mercy bathed in her blood to kind of to mask her appearance, as she was all burned everywhere, and that healed her. So he finds her dead body, and they kind of had a romance. I don't know. I felt like this was kind of forced, but out of nowhere. But the two kind of had a thing for each other, apparently, because Isaac feels like Dolly saw his soul. Like, she was able to get past his physical appearance and all this other stuff, that because he's known as Isaac the Fornicator. So she was able to get past that, and she saw him for his soul, not his overall physical appearance. So that's why he loves her, apparently. So as Mary is taken by Marburg, Hawthorne shows up, and then he tells Mary that she has committed adultery with the doctor because the doctor's gone missing. But he knows about the doctor and her being intimate, and remember, Hawthorne still thinks that George is alive. So he's like, well, you've committed adultery, so you're getting arrested for that. So she ends up being arrested, and we see that Hawthorne has become a loyal servant to Marburg. I don't know what she's got against them, but she's using him. He's like a servant to her, and he's doing everything that Marburg is telling him to do. And he has now arrested Mary and taken all the power from her. She's no longer in control of the town. And actually, I can see why he's helping her. I'm assuming Marburg's promised him to, like, okay, listen, you arrest Mary, you do what I say, you'll be in control of this town. So obviously he's gonna say yes, because this is what he's been going after ever since he got here. He wanted to be magistrate. Once he became magistrate, he wanted to become the freaking leader of the town. I mean, this guy can't make up his mind of what he wants, but he wants power, and he's willing to help Marburg. He knows that she's a witch. I'm assuming, but power is more important to him, I think, than above everything else. So he's agreed to help her. So Cotton and Alden are trying to figure out if they can save the boy, because now that they've rescued the boy, they're trying to figure out how can they save this boy, because they know that there's something growing inside him. They're trying to save him from whatever is inside him. But soon enough, they realize that this might be a little bit more complicated than it seems. You know, um, because the kid is the demonic side of the kid just shows up, and he tells Alden and Mather, like, you're too late. That there's nothing you can do, just give up. And that's how the episode ends. They realize that it might be too late, as the demon inside him has come to life. And, pretty much how are they going to stop this? I mean, Cotton Mather is a priest, but how are they going to get this demon out? That is going to be the question. That is what we're going to find out in the next episode. How are they going to try and do this? Are they going to perform an exorcism? What are they going to do? So yeah, there's only 3 episodes left until this season ends. I have to say this. I had to watch this episode twice because it's kind of a confusing episode, because there's so many little scenes that just happen throughout this whole episode. They keep jumping from one scene to the next. It might be even hard for you guys to understand what just happened here. Because, in this review, I mean, I was jumping all over the place in this review. This episode was not. I mean, it was a good episode, I felt, but I mean, I don't even know if it was a good episode. I mean, this was a lot happened. It seems like a lot of things happened, but I didn't enjoy this episode as much as the other episodes. But it's definitely an important episode, but the episode itself was not made necessarily all that. It wasn't necessarily all that great episode. The way it was constructed was really weird. They just kept jumping from one scene to the next. It just felt a little bit too much. Overall, this was an okay episode. I wouldn't say this is the episode. If you were to start watching this series, this is not the episode you want to start watching it from. Especially since this is not a show where you can just pick off from like any random episode and get into the show. This isn't Walking Dead. So yeah, guys, that is my review for Salem Season 2 Episode 10. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I will see you next week for another Salem review. So be sure to keep up with that. And yeah, guys, I'll see you.